Hey, you guys, what's up? Welcome to my show. This is Erin Jai from Hey DFW. And for the month of April, I am going to do a special segment called QT with Erin Jai. QT being short for quarantine time. And with that time, I'm going to talk about, talk to people and bring guests on that are going to basically shed some ways that we can be rebuild. We can rebuild right now during a time of isolation and being to ourselves. And, you know, if you're dealing with something, I just want to bring some positivity, energy into the air with this segment. So today, my first guest is a published author. She's a certified entrepreneurship and business coach and cognitive behavior coach. And she specializes also in goal setting for female entrepreneurs. And to add, it gets long, y'all. She is also the executive director of Zeal of Xander, a nonprofit organization named after her belated son. So you guys welcome my guest today, Zay Bell. Let's bring her on. Hi.
Did you see my smile? I was practicing it. Like, you know how it gets awkward. You know, people like.
Say hey, everybody.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Greetings from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yes, she is been so patient with me, you guys. And we've been testing out the software for a couple of weeks now. And I was like, you know what? I was sweeping the other day and I was like, let's do, a quarantine segment. And I'm going to call it QT Erin Jai. She was like, that sounds like a good idea. I was like, you know what? Just come on, be my first guest and we can talk about it. And we're going to have her on the show, the full Hey DFW show later on. But right now, while we're in the season of rebuilding, we want to make sure that we get some good energy in there and some good information right now. Now.
Yeah.
All right. So we are in the middle of the quarantine and businesses are experiencing a difficult time. They're experiencing a very difficult time. And people are, having financial difficulty. Employees are being laid off. As a business coach, what advice do you have for anyone who is currently in business for themselves?
So as a business coach, what I'll say is that this is people are looking at it as a time of like detriment and everything is drying up. When it comes to entrepreneurship, this is a really, really good time to just expand. So meaning just to, expand your reach on more of a global base by using the internet. So my suggestion would be, like, a lot of people have to determine where they fall in the realm of entrepreneurship. So you have people that are consultants and coaches. So they have more of their business is their brain, right? Yeah. So they're more of the strategists and analysts trying to get the pieces to work to help you get to where you need to go. And then, some individuals are more of the skill-based entrepreneur. So that would mean that, like, your lash technicians or individuals that's doing wigs and stuff like that. So what you can do online is a little bit different based on, coaching and consulting, that mind power versus the technical power. So things as simple as coaches and consultants now can do ebooks. They can do more of like online courses or something like that. So you can monetize those things. When it comes to individuals that are doing more of the technical component, like lashes, they can come up with products like, hey, listen, this is how you do your lashes. So they can do that on a video. Or a person that's, that does wigs. Hey, this is how the first class in doing that. Or, hey, this is how you maintain or take care of your wig with this product, as simple as going into the kitchen and making some things. So I think that we just really have to determine where we are, and we have to become our own client so that we know what we need in this time. And so products are key. Products are key. It's going to save your business during this pandemic.
Okay. Do you hear that echo?
I hear it now.
Okay, let me you guys, let me put on my headphones.
Erin's putting on her headphones.
Yes.
I'm like a little commentator. What she does. Put on her headphones. She disappeared, but we are still here. She's okay. And this is McDonald's teas. I don't know if you can have that in the honey, but let me tell you, they are not hurting for a bit of a piece of corn. McDonald's is not.
All right. Do you hear the echo now?
No.
Okay. You don't have any. It's not. You don't have it on any devices on, but it should pick up because this is not live.
No, I don't have any devices on. Let me know if I need my headset. I'll have to get my assistant to bring it to me.
Okay. And honestly, it's I can't hear you through the headset. Hold on.
I think she has it in the wrong hole, guys.
Hello?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So my next question is, you know, some people don't know where to start.
Right.
I mean, because the key to anything is just starting. You know, I was even stagnant at that stage myself because you're kind of scared. You're kind of scared to get out there. Why do you think securing a business coach would be beneficial?
So I think a couple of components. You know, number one, sometimes you get so into your own head about producing something. Like, is it good enough? Ooh, should I do that? Ooh, the logo. Ooh, maybe I should do this. I should do that. So sometimes you need to have that level of accountability to set some goals for you to get out of your own head. So I think that is one particular reason. The other reason is I decided to do a lot of certifications, right? So the REBT, the CBT, those are things that I wanted to do particularly because what I knew is that sometimes as people, what has happened in our past will affect how we function in our future, right? And so ultimately, those two certifications are clearly about mindset. It's about what you think about yourself, how you function, and how you apply that to your life. If you don't think that you are capable of doing something, you will not do it. You just won't. Even if you think that, okay, I'm a little bit smart, but when I was 7, my mom says that I wasn't going to be nothing because I was just like my daddy, that affects you as an adult, as a business owner, because you always second guess yourself. Like you always feel like you are just not good enough in your approach and how you put things out. So I think that you definitely need a business coach just for that. You need someone to be on the sidelines and you need someone to say, listen, that was a great move that you made, but listen, next time let's go this route and let's see if that works as well. Because business coaches we have a bird's eye view. We're not close to the situation. You take it personally. Like it's your business. We just want to make sure that we get the technical components, that we get the fact that you're capable, the fact that you have something to offer people. We want to pull or extract those things out of you. So I think that it's always great to have a business coach. Even if you don't have a business coach, have a mentor.
I definitely agree. Oh, echo.
You hear it, I don't.
Okay, yeah, I heard my ear. Now when I play it back, it's gonna seem like you guys. Hold on one moment. Let me because I can't hear you in the headphones, so I'm not sure my headphones are connected. We're still gonna post this.
I think it's a great interview. I'm biased though.
Hold on one moment, you guys again.
She's disappearing. So listen, guys, while Erin has disappeared, you really need to invest. Even if you do, you know what? On Facebook, they have a lot of coaches on Facebook, and even some of them. Now listen. So what I will say is that this day and time, anybody can say that they're a coach. That does not mean that they are a good coach, but a lot of people are offering 15, 30, 1 hour consultations that are free. Just do it. Do it and see what they're talking about. Maybe it's a fit, maybe it's not, but you can eat the meat, leave the bone, meaning that you take what is best for you to apply it for your life and you keep it pushing.
Right now, you guys, I have Xavier stuff on there while I secure good audio.
She has my stuff on there. That is me. I should have wore that hat today.
Xavier, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I think that might be it. I unplugged my speakers.
And you sound very good too.
All right. Awesome. You guys, isn't this nice right here? Look at this.
I want you guys to know that I made it in Canva.
It looks very good. We're going to come back to this towards the end of the broadcast. All right. Let's see. Stop screen sharing. All right. And we're back up.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
And it looks totally different than it did before. But I do
it
like
does. And you widen it out. But that's okay. Because I'm still great.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me change my lighting.
Guys, I'm just gonna be honest with you. We're working things out, but I'm gonna air this. Me and Xavier tested this out several times, and it's trial and error, so it is what it is. All right. So one of the things, like, a lot of people don't have funds for coaching. A lot of people don't have funds for the coaching. Mm-hmm. What resources do you offer clients that to assist people that don't have the funds for the direct coaching?
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I do is I started out. Now, if people want to, pay me for like coaching, I allow for them to book me for a set amount of hours, right? But for people that don't, I charge like on a low end, like, okay, you know what? Let's just work some things out for $45 an hour. The reason that I do that is because you can borrow $45.
Yeah.
Like, you can, now you probably cannot borrow $500 to sit with me for an extended period of time, but you can get together with a couple of people and say, listen, I am really trying to get my business off the ground and I need to borrow $10. And you can have 4 or 5, people. You should have $5 at least, at your house under a couch cushion in your car somewhere. But you can have 4 or 5 people invest $10 and then, work it out that way. So I do the whole hour session on the lower end for $45. And I think that any good coach would do that.
That's true. I still hear an editing, an audio issue. Do you hear it?
I don't hear it.
Oh, we'll go back through it. Well, yeah, and you want, and it's always good because everybody can't afford everything. It's always good to be, accessible and have those people that are willing to help people that are pretty much on the bottom floor.
Yeah.
So that's really good that you do that. What made you decide to do that?
Because I remember a time where I could have borrowed $45. And so, but I also remember a time when I was in that place where I was like, what am I going to do next? I don't want to, I'm back in Alabama. I'm sleeping on my mom. Listen, I slept on my mother's couch for a long time, for months. And she was like, why don't you just go in your room? I said, because I do not want to get comfortable in this environment. And so, because I did not want to be in a space where I accepted that is where I was at that point. I needed to be in a place where I was uncomfortable so that I can keep trying to, get a departure plan together. And so what I recognized was, you know what? I am good with anything that I put my hands to. I really honestly believe that when it comes to people, if you do something long enough, you can do it good. And so, you went to school with Gina and I. So Gina and I have been best friends for a very long time. And so even until up to today, back in 2013, 14, I was like, you know what? I'm not working for real. Let me just do something to make some money. So I decided I'm gonna make soap. And so I started making it. And people were just like, hey, can you could you make me this custom order? Sure. And I was making like a lot of soap, going different places. People were asking me to come. And so when I decided that, hey, this opportunity for me to go back to Florida has come, I'm out. And Gina was like, you just make soap and then just leave. Like, to this day, Gina still has 2 or 3 bars of soap that she holds on to for dear life. For dear life, in hopes that I will make more soap. So for one of the gifts for our wedding is I'm making soap for everybody. And she was like, man, I hope a lot of people don't show up. I just want to come and just take all of that soap and keep it for myself. So even in that time, I recognize that, one, yeah, you may be in a situation where you can't really afford to do a lot, but 2, you can do something. And so I want to be able to assist people in being innovative in their detriment or where they are.
That is really good. It is something about getting comfortable and being uncomfortable. And sometimes I even get scared when I am comfortable. I'm like, I don't want to get used to this. I get a little nervous, a little anxiety. And, you know, sometimes comfort is good, but I guess you just kind of got to find where you're comfortable at. Like right now in Texas doing this, I'm comfortable. This is good. But when I was in Savannah, I was uncomfortable. And I wanted out. What are the steps you would give someone who is uncomfortable? Or, you know, how do you, first of all, because some people don't even know, how do you know if you're uncomfortable?
That's a really good question. So I remember being in a place where nothing would work. Like, just nothing would work. Like, my whole, I was trying to, here I am with a master's degree applying for jobs where people don't need a high school diploma. Like, I was at that place. And I remember getting a job that I was making maybe $9 an hour. I had not made $9 an hour in a very long time. Like, I mean, when I say a long time, I was like, how do people make $9? This was because my comfort level was making over $20 an hour. But when I had to get back to $9 an hour, I knew that was a place of discomfort for me, because what I had to compare that to is that the bills that I had, my normal superseded that $9. So I think one of the places that you recognize that, you know, you're uncomfortable in is that your normal supersedes where you currently are. So that's the first thing. And that means anything. That means in a relationship. If your normal is having a man that does not hit you, being in a relationship with a man that does is uncomfortable and you shouldn't be in it. Right. So if being in a job where you're making $9 an hour and you are working harder than your supervisor and you have more transferable skills, you have more know-how, you can work the ins and outs of this job. If that is what your normal is now and it's uncomfortable, you got to find somewhere else to be. And so one of the things that I always tell people, this is why the new book that I'm putting out in October is called Move Scared. Sometimes you're not going to know what the end result is going to be, but you just got to take that plunge and that jump and that move. And not saying that you should do something crazy, but saying that you can't stay in the same spot forever and expect to have a greater impact or a greater outcome. You have to move scared. And so that means that you got to get out of this place that you're in.
Before we move any further, I just asked StreamYard about this echo. Do you have any tabs open?
I have a Facebook tab open.
Can you close out of that?
Okay, I have one tab open now.
Okay. They asked, they said, can you close out all your tabs? I have Google, and then I just have your website up and stuff that's going to go up later when I get ready to share the screen. Okay. Okay, stop. One moment. All right. Excuse me, you guys. You know, I'm not a perfectionist, but I always kind of say that. But I like things a certain way, so I wanted to make sure that this echo stops because Xavier has really good tips here, and we got to get them out. So I do have other questions, but I do want to get on the uncomfortable. What is So you have the you're uncomfortable person.
Right.
People we're talking to. Some of the things that Zay just named are things that you're probably experiencing right now. You were unsure, but now you're sure that you are uncomfortable. Xavier, what is the first step that someone should do now that they came to realize this ain't for me?
Mm-hmm. So I think the first step is there is no place, there's no way that you can get from a place of comfort to a uncomfort to a place of comfort without having a destination, right? So ultimately, that's like me saying, okay, I want to take a trip, but where do you want to go? So you have to determine, where do you want to go? That may mean, let's just use career as an example. So you're uncomfortable making $9 an hour, but you would feel comfortable making 14 or 15. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to scout the area. I always say scout the area in anything. If that means that you want a better relationship, if that means that you want to start a business, if that means that you want to, shift in your career, scout the area. See what jobs there are that pay $14 an hour. Right? So you know what your destination is. Okay, so I know this job A, B, C, and D. Now let me compare my skill set to what they require. Because there's no way that I can say, oh, my comfort level would be to be an astronaut and I have no technical skills to do that. We have to be realistic.
That's true.
We certainly have to be realistic. So I think that, one, you need to know where you're going. You need to know where you're heading. So there is no way that you can determine what makes you happy if you don't know what it is, if you haven't experienced happiness. So you need to set a destination, and then you need to scout the area. And then you need to be realistic about what you can bring to that company and how you can obtain that amount of money that you want. I always say you can negotiate yourself. When somebody says, hey, we'll pay you $50,000 a year, hey, that is a really great starting salary. If I come in at $50,000 a year and you keep me past 90 days, then I need you to give me $8,000 more. Right? And so you have the right to be an advocate for yourself.
It was a while ago. I went to Church's Chicken, you guys. I love their jalapeno poppers. And the young lady.
We don't have a Church's.
Y'all don't? Gosh. Well, ours closed down here not too long ago. The one that's near me. One of the things that happened when I got to the window, the girl was just exhausted. She looked so tired, and she just looked worn down and beat up. And I was like, oh, and I got my food. I said, you okay? She said, what you mean? I said, well, what do you want to do? What do you really want to do? And she was like, well, I want to be a CNA. I said, okay. And, what steps are you taking to do that? She's like, well, I just been here. I've been here for 2 weeks. This is the only job I can get. I said, well, listen, make a plan and you can definitely get there. Go home tonight, write it down, write what you want to do, write down the steps that you know how to get there, and get in a good circle of people that's going to help you and lift you and pull you up. And she's like, thank you so much. I really needed to hear that. And it was just like, it made me feel good to speak that life into her. And I hope that she's somewhere applying that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard to do that. So let's talk about, we talked the other day in, I don't know what, private conversation about intentional relationships. Can you define for people what are intentional relationships and why are they important?
Okay, so I read this book called Belong. And
Belong or
Belong. It's called Belong. And so Belong really talks more about being, when we were younger, like, and maybe somebody that's in their early 20s or whatever, we just wanted company. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just didn't want to go on this journey without somebody to keep us company along for the ride. We wanted to go to the club with some people to have fun. We wanted to go hang out at the mall. We want to go and do those things because we wanted company, right? So being intentional about your relationships is, I don't want company. I want somebody that is going to cultivate me. So you go from wanting company to cultivating. That's what your desire is. Meaning that I want somebody to grow with me and help me grow in areas. So I'm going to start looking for people that is capable of doing those things. So basically, that's what intentional is about. It's not about, oh, I just want to be her friend because her hair is pretty or she's always so well kept. No, I want to be her friend because every time she makes a move, it's prosperous. And I need to know what she's doing, and I need for her to grow me in that area, right? And sometimes it's completely and totally. See, y'all, and Madison is right here because it was. So if you see a little something down there, it's Madison. And sometimes it's that, hey, listen, I need to connect with her because there is an area in her life that I can catapult her in. So the intentions are, one, to produce a product or a portion, I say product, of a person that is better than what you met them at. One, that's the first thing. Number two, we are moving in the same direction. So there may be some things that I can't see that you can in somebody. Gina is when I say Gina has great discernment, she's like, Like, when I say quick, and I'm like, let's just give him a chance. Nope. She is going to suck you dry. And I'm like, Gina, she's going to suck you dry. And 10 times out of 10, she's absolutely right. So, her intention, like I always tell when people ask me who Gina is in my life, she is my atmosphere shifter. Like she shifts the atmosphere, and she makes it very difficult for me to talk myself into situations.
Good accountability.
Great accountability.
Speaking of which, so some people, how do you know to trust your discernment? For me, it's age. And the thing is, you knew things long before, but now it's like, I act on it. I act on it. I'm certain of it. And actually, if y'all really want to know, if I'm wrong, I'm like, dang, you know what? I was wrong. But I don't even beat myself up about it. Mm-hmm. But 9 times out of 10, I was right about something when I pointed it out. And, we talked about that. That's kind of what I was going through, in 2019. It's like, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. So how do you align yourself with those people? Because one of the things that, even with the direction in this is, people, when I got here, I'm in my 30s, mid-career, people are asking me, how do you make friends? How do you do this? How was someone pretty much rarely in their 20s or like an introvert? Because we're kind of extroverted. I'm extroverted, introverted. Like, I'm going to talk to you if I know you. And how do you get yourself to that place mentally where you're there and you're not scared to talk to someone? For me, I just, show up and like, okay, take a deep breath, walk up, introduce yourself. And once they feel my energy, I can help them relax, and they do it. But a lot of people are just not like that. How does someone build up that confidence to get there?
You know what? I had this job that I hated. When I tell you, y'all, I hated this job. Like, this job made my soul, like a little piece of my soul died every time I pulled up. And so when I pulled up, when I pulled up at the in the parking lot, I sat in my car. So I arrived there early, right? So I got there early, and I sat in my car to de-escalate, maybe for about 20 minutes or so. And then, but just before I got out of the car, I would look at myself in the mirror and say, that I am the ideal employee. I am the prototype of what an ideal employee looks like. And then I just kind of pumped myself up. I talked about, walking in integrity, doing a job that you were paid to do. Just, being a influence in your atmosphere, just, being that shining light to other individuals that work with you, encouraging your, my co-workers with my positive attitude. So I kind of I coached myself up to do that. And then I would get out and then I would handle the day and then I would, come back home. And so what I'll say is that what we have to start taking serious is that we are a big deal. So when people talk to me, I'm like, listen, I'm a big deal. One of my friends made me a shirt one time that says, I am a big deal. And so you have to take into consideration that you bring something to the table. The only way, I remember having to, when I would explain or say something about my childhood, always having to explain why I lived in a trailer growing up. Because when I looked at my friends, I felt like I was the one that grew up in a family that did not have enough money. And so now I move and shake so that I will never be in a place where my children have to explain that we lived in this position or we lived in this place. Not saying that it was a bad place, because I can never remember our light skin turned off, never remember us not having any food, not remember anything. But that whole stigma of people being trailer park trash, you know what I'm saying, or being impoverished really just made me want to have to explain my way out of it. And so know that when you walk into a situation, you don't have to explain your way out of anything. You have enough skill and mindset, and you have enough value to make any situation better. And you have to walk in that truth.
That's true. That's true. I can get that. Question about, as far as things are different trends, we're kind of going to go a different direction. Oh, by the way, they asked to see if you can wear your headphones.
Okay, I'll have my
assistant.
assistant to bring them out.
Okay, and we'll see how that goes, and when I rewatch it, I'll go from there. So, business is a lot of people are doing a lot of things online nowadays, more than ever. So what trends do you see presently in business now, and how should entrepreneurs take heed to that?
So there are a lot of trends. A lot of people want an Instagram life, right? So a lot of coaches and a lot of consultants and, a lot of these different people, they, make entrepreneurship look so nice by having a nice little ring light and a nice little downloadable PDF and a YouTube channel or whatever. So the trend is selling people this fictitious existence of being, glamorized in being a business owner. People will forever do that. Entrepreneurship is not easy. I always choose to be a bivocational entrepreneur, meaning that I want a full-time job and then I want to do my business. That's just how I like to roll. I enjoy doing that. But the trend is, don't get caught up in seeing how everything looks glamorous and, you want to be this glamorous entrepreneur. Thank you, assistant.
Thank you.
Erin said, thank you, Dan. He's gone now. He says, oh, you're quite welcome. Y'all, that's my assistant. He helps me sometimes. All the time.
Put this
Okay, let's see if this is gonna work. Oh, wait a minute. I got a whole lot of stuff going on over here. Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I'm gonna test out the rest of this interview and make sure that, okay, if I have to ask all the guests to wear headphones, and go from there.
Let me turn you up a little bit too.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you kind of. She has real headphones, you guys. I have some Walkman headphones.
Well, I had these, but I tried these earlier, but you couldn't hear me. So,
Oh, okay.
mhm.
Okay. So we were talking about the trends in that and how should they take heed. Did you
Yeah.
answer that question?
So, that with the whole coaching and consulting, listen, make sure that you get a solid person. I always tell people, make sure if someone had to pay $30 for a certificate, make them pay it. Because, there are certifications out there that's like $200 classes that are, expensive to take. I'm in a program right now with Cornell University that's called Women in Leadership. And after I finish this, I'm going to go to some courses that they have at Harvard School of Business. Why? Because you should always be a learner. There is no way that you can teach somebody how to go from point A to point B when you don't have the experience and the know-how and the knowledge base to do it. So make sure that what they show you is accurate. Okay, how can you get that? Also, a lot of network marketing is very trendy now. I don't think that there's an issue with network marketing. I think that a lot of people are buying into it, so the market is very saturated. Like when it comes to like paparazzi, when it comes to like the ISOT, when it comes to like other membership based or tier based things. I think that those can be absolutely great businesses, and you can make money in them, but just make sure that you are not gimmicky. Right?
Yeah.
Make sure you get with somebody that has gone through the business. Make sure you read a lot of literatures to make the business look like yours within the confines of what the company has established for you. And make sure that you utilize the tools that they have, because they always have these events that all of the high earners come to and things of that nature. Make sure you go there, make sure you listen, make sure you apply things. So I think that that would be the suggestions that I would make in regards to trending.
Okay. So what are some of the biggest challenges that women in entrepreneurship face, and what advice do you give them to overcome that?
I think that when it comes to entrepreneurship, specifically for women, is by nature, women are gatherers. And I think that we talked about this a little bit before. Like, women gathered to do certain things like garden and collect certain stuff for like the village or for the household. They gathered and they raised each other's children. And so I think that the most difficult part about being a female in entrepreneurship is to recognize that everybody cannot go with you.
Yes.
I mean, sorry, like everybody can't go. Everybody's not going to understand. You don't need a high five or a pat on the back or for somebody to say, we really need that stamp of approval from certain people. And if we do not get it, then it halts us where we stand.
That's true.
And so that's the biggest part of, being a female. Yes, we'll walk into a place and people look, it's difficult being a Black female in business, because people, you're already coined to be, hey, you are aggressive, you talk loud, you talk with your hands a lot, this, you don't have the know-how or whatever. So you already have that stigma. You're emotional, so you have that. But we are our worst enemies, because we want to take everybody, and everybody is not equipped to go. And when we drag them from one place to the next, we have to be responsible for the bodies that we leave en route. You just have to.
You guys, I'm having this look because it's so strong.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
so
you have
strong.
to. You have to.
Yeah.
And that goes back to wanting company. I want you to go too because I know that you can do this. You cannot want better for a person that's okay with where they are. Like you can't be more attached to somebody's situation than they are. One of the chapters in the Move Scared book is called Chicken versus Eagle, right? And so chicken versus eagle, I was looking at like the chicken and looking at the eagle. And so the chicken said that I think the longest flight of a chicken was like 18 seconds, 16 or 18 seconds. And they got as high as like maybe about 4 feet, 4 or 5 feet off the ground or something like that. I don't have it right in front of me, so we just gonna go with that, okay? And so then they started talking about an eagle. And so the eagle was like, hey, it can reach altitudes of 30,000 feet or more. Like when it's time to, eagles ride the storm out. Chickens stand in the rain. Right? When it's time to feed, eagles go back and tell, hey, it's time to eat. This is where the food is. And they go and tell people, they give them the information, they tell other eagles, and then they just meet them at the spot, right? So how is it possible that you have an expectation of somebody that's only flown 4 feet to give you a 30,000 feet vision? You cannot.
Yeah.
You can't. You can never ask somebody about moving this lived on the street for their entire life. They're never going to understand that. You can never ask somebody about starting a business who has never had a desire to start a business. You cannot do that. You cannot put all of your eggs in one basket and have the expectation of somebody to support you that can't even operate in their fullness of their purpose. So you got to determine who are you going to be with. Either you're going to be with the chickens and stand in the rain, or you're going to be in the eagles and ride this storm out.
Intentional, you guys. This goes back to those intentional relationships. That's true. You're speaking some true tea right there.
Listen, I'll be telling the truth.
There are a lot of coaches out there. It's a lot. I see a lot of them on Instagram. I follow a couple of them.
I'm gonna drink tea while Erin is talking. Go ahead.
What are some things that people need to look for when it comes to coaching? So say for instance, Jane Doe's like, you know what? I want to do this. I want to start a business. I think I'm going to go business coaching. There's this person that does this. There's this person right here. I like what she does. I like this person. And it's so many. And honestly, for me, I try not to follow so many of the same people. Like I have my little workout people who body I wish I could have. Like, oh my God, I love her workouts. I don't follow any more, but maybe like 4 or 5. I don't need to see 10 ad routines or anything like that, especially if I ain't doing them.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of how I like do. I don't follow too much of anything on my social media. So because it could just it's just so much, and there's so many people and so many talents out there. And like you said, you need to be able it's like false prophets technically too. So how do you know when this is right for you and this person is right for you and this is a match?
So just speaking personally, and this is what I always tell people, I have met a lot of clients that came to me that asked me, is this amount of money too much to pay to do this? And when I tell them, well, I'll charge you way more money to do it, but you can do it cheaper for yourself. And then they'll come to me, even though I'm charging 3 times more money, right? Because not only am I showing them the technical components of what they can do, but I'm also showing them what can be produced out of that. So every time I get a client, we sit together and we determine at least 5 streams of income from one piece of work, right? And so what you have to do as a entrepreneur is see who not only speaks to your gift, but speaks to your reality. Which means that I cannot be with a person that's stuffy. Like, we gotta mesh, like our personalities have to mesh. But I'm also not gonna be with somebody that twerk on camera. That's just my thing. Like, your reality does not mesh with mine. You going out smoking, being extra does not mesh with mine. So I may necessarily not follow you and have you as someone that is per se my business coach, but I will take some of the information that you have to offer me in your particular expertise area of expertise and apply that to my life. So I think that what people have to take into consideration too is eat the meat and leave the bone. There may be tons of people, like I follow Rachel Hollis. She's so totally opposite from me. A little white girl with a high school diploma that worked 15 years to build a $1 million industry.
Oh wow, what does she do?
She does the Rise conference. So she is very now on one area she's completely and totally different than me. The other area is she's very blunt like I am. So she has this book called Girl Wash Your Face. That's and we really need those type of people in our life. Like, we need the people that's like, listen, you got to stop making excuses. Quit crying. If you're gonna cry outside. But in here we have to deal with some business. So you have to, one, deal with people that's going to speak to your spirit and your gift and your reality, but also, deal with people that's going to give you the hard truths. Like, look, you keep making excuses. This is what your excuses are. This is what your reality is. This is what your future could be. So you need all those things. So I think that it's okay to have, I call them snapshot coaches. There may be a certain area that you like in a particular person, and that's okay to follow them in that area. But when it comes to someone that you are going to pretty much pass your baby to and let them hold it, you need to make sure that they are capable of taking care of your baby and nurturing your child with you to assist in its growth. So those are like some key things. You need to figure out where you want to be and if they can take you there, if that's the vehicle.
Okay. So as a coach, what motivates you? What motivates the coach?
I think what motivates the coach is looking through the process. Like, what motivates me is, I have one client that is in Florida. Well, I have two clients in Florida now, but one of my clients in Florida, she saw me years ago and she was like, I want to do a book. I was like, okay. So after I had got out of the whole publishing business, she was like, she reached back out to me and she's like, okay, I'm ready to do the book. I'm like, girl, I don't even do that like anymore. I'm trying to find her somebody, another resource. And I'm thinking, I don't know who's doing that right now. And so she was like, well, can you still just meet with me and talk to me about it? And I'm like, sure. So when I talked to her and she was like, well, how much would you charge me to do it? And I gave her a figure and she was like, okay. So randomly one day I get this 4-figure check in my mailbox. And I'm like, oh, okay, so she's serious. So to see her years ago wanting to do a book, to see her now with a book, with a workbook, with a journal that accompanies it, and two book releases under her belt and writing another book, it just really gives my heart joy to just see the process complete, because you always want your clients to complete the process, and not all of them will.
Yeah. That's my like, I always get nervous about that with the writing business. It's like, the resume gets you in the door, so until I go further and get the coaching certification for that, this is going to get you in the door. And pretty much at that time, they already kind of have an idea about who you are. I sent you the best representation of you I could on paper.
Yeah.
So,
and sometimes it's better than what you are in person. And then that's just the truth.
Yeah.
Like, the truth is, sometimes your resume is much better than who you are as an employee, because you're going to steal time.
Yeah.
You're going to call out sick. You're not punctual. Okay. So, even even that, like in the business of, I was thinking about, you know, what you do just like a couple days ago. And I was thinking people need to know how to market themselves, because your resume is a marketing tool.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
So now that you have, it's like sending out a flyer to a great event. Like people get like this flyer and it's like, oh my God, this is gonna, the swag bags are gonna be great. The food is gonna be great. Okay, I'm gonna pay $50,000 for this great event. And then you go to the event and you like, this ain't nothing like that was on the flyer.
Right, right.
Y'all said y'all was going
there.
Yeah, y'all said y'all was gonna have filet mignon. This is
right.
ground beef at best.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, that's just the reality of it. It's just how do you meet the expectation? Like how, you know, everybody's amped up to meet you, and then you come in the room and it's just like, yeah, this ain't. This is not what we thought. So yeah, it's interesting. We live in an interesting world.
Yeah, because the online representation can sometimes be so much different than who you are in person. And one of the things that, you know, that I'm learning even about myself with Hey DFW, people, you know, didn't think, like when I asked them to be on the show and tell them who I am and my background and stuff like that, it's like, oh, you know, it's like, well, what you thought, you know, what did you think, you know, and what is the perception? And most of my things on my Instagram are food, of course, my little baby pixie. I might have something funny on there every now and then and stuff like that. But when they find out, you know, I tell them, oh yeah, you know, I did freelance journalism work before. I still do. I still am a writer full time. I majored in broadcasting. It's like, oh, she's a serious.
Yeah.
You know, and then when they get on the show and they realize I actually took time to research and ask like in-depth questions, it's even after the show when we talk, it's just better. It's better. And so, you know, it's just, I take it very seriously, and I take content seriously that I put out. And a lot of the questions I always, like, even when I watch other people interview, I'm like, why don't you ask them how? Like, people want to know how. People want to know what. Like, ask them questions like that. Or just, I don't like it when people say, oh, I just got with such and such. We linked up and it is. No. No, I'm going to do the get out. No.
Yeah.
How did you link up? There is a process to linking up.
Yeah.
Tell us how you got here. You know,
what does your link up look like?
Yeah, I like that point A to point B source, because that gives me a template to do it. And honestly, that's how why coaching is so big, because a lot of times back in the day, there was nobody really coming around telling people how to do it. People wanted to do it, but there was nobody telling you how to do it. And that's why you most of the time to school, because you wanted to know how to do it, and you wanted to get in a network where other people are doing what you want to do. So fine, you know, and it goes back to you talking about securing a mentor. When I met my mentor, shouts out to Nicolette Barrett, I write resumes. I was nervous, and I approached her. I was new to the business. I've been doing it because I'm a writer. I know how to get the content. I know how to ask you the questions to get, like you said, to draw the stuff out of you. Because a lot of people sometimes forget what they do day to day if they've been doing it for 10 years.
Right.
And they don't even know the value until it's on paper. Like, girl, you did this, you did this. Okay, yeah, I got you. And, you know, I'm a Black woman. She's a Black woman. She writes resumes. I write resumes. We're both in Texas. How is this going to go?
Yep.
So when I approached her, I saw her because we're part of the National Resume Writers Association. So when I saw her introduce herself on there, I thought, oh, you know what? She's in Texas. I need to call her and see. So I called her, and you know, I emailed her first, told her who I was, what I'm trying to do. This is before my website even launched, and I was like, you know, I really, you know, I want to do this, but I just need some type of mentorship, you know, for when she agreed to talk to me. I said, I'm looking for a mentor. I just bought my home at the time. So, you know, I can't afford to pay for any type of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just honest. I was honest, y'all. I said, but I would like to work with you and just, you know, learn a little bit more about the business side of it, what I need to do and things of that sort. And, you know, if you give me an opportunity to do that, whatever I know on the marketing side or down the pipeline, I will forward that, you know, information to you or anything like that. Like I'm not just going to be a taker if you decide to take this on. And that's what I told her. And she got quiet and she thought about it. She's like, you know what? Come on, girl. There's enough money for both of us. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, I was like, oh my God. Now what? I don't know what to ask her. I was just so excited about that. And, you know, and we talked 3 months and I took her out to lunch and just told her where I was in the building process and stuff like that. And, you know, she was on my show. She was on my show for Hey DFW. And talked about her resume writing business and stuff like that. And then I was a guest on her show and I told her, like, well, you don't have to tell people that I write resumes too, because these are your clients. You know, so before the show, we had the before the show talk. I said, these are your clients. You know, you don't have to tell them that. I can, you know, I don't want them to just, you know. And she's like, Erin, tell everybody how we met. I was like, oh, okay, well, Erin writing resumes too. I'm like, no,
right.
You know, and I thought that was so sweet. And a couple of weeks ago, I had like an interview for a show. I couldn't make the interview. I was like, listen, you guys, I'm gonna send y'all somebody else to interview. And I gave them like her information and somebody else's information. It's like, and then when I had the interview for Voyage in a magazine, they asked me if I know anybody else they can interview. I gave them to her. Like whatever, because she's helped me on that end, if I could help put her name out there too, I'm going to do it. It's 7 million people in the DFW area. Now, as much as I would love 7 million clients, I physically can't do it. And everybody I might not even want as a client. So for me to get that information from her and then not give what I know and not share my network would be crazy. There's enough for both of us. And one of my friends about 4 weeks ago, she asked me so much about like a resume, like the video resumes, this and that. I said, well, hey, this is what I do in my business. You know, I do the basics right now, but I know someone who can. I'm going to send you to her. And after that, my friend, she called me like a week later. She's like, you know what, Erin, I appreciate that when you knew that it wasn't pretty much in your capacity, you forwarded me on to somebody. You just didn't see it as an opportunity to make money. You sent it
and to be a science project.
Right. I was like, girl, I'm not going to waste time to try to figure that out. I know I can't do it. I'm not going to set you up for that. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, I can do it and then go home and Google it. I'm not going to be that type of business. I'm going to do what I can do. And when I get to that point, that's why I got a mentor. Then I got it. But until then, here you go. This is somebody that can do it. I got confidence in her. She's going to cost a little bit more. But it's definitely more, it's worth it. It's worth the investment. And she was thankful for that. I don't know if they got together or not, but that's kind of how I want to set up my business, where if I can't do it, I'm gonna refer you to someone else who can. And I want people to, if they can't do it, they refer them to me. And I know sometimes things are gonna get, you know, it's not gonna be an easy road, but back to what you're saying, just get a mentor, you guys. I'm learning best with the intentional relationships things.
Definitely.
And, but a mentor is definitely needed, and somebody that's kind of like outside your circle too. Where y'all don't have, you know, a personal relationship, you know, and things of that sort. So I think that's I highly recommend that. And I also recommend coaching. I got coaching before I left Savannah. I got coaching, but I paid for the sessions. And what happened was it was starting out to be beneficial, but I got the job. I had to move to Texas, and he was an older guy, and the video conferencing wasn't working for us. So I had to end that relationship, because he was like, we could do it for once a month, but he wanted to do it once a month, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I couldn't do that. We did it on my lunch break a few times, but I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't into it. I'm trying to get this information in there, and it just wasn't working. So I had to stop it and and go from there. So I didn't put out all my stuff.
But that's fine. That's good information.
Yeah.
I mean, and the beautiful thing is too, is that even what you were saying, like your mentor, there was a relationship that was intentional.
It was, yeah.
Like that's just what it was. When it came to, you having a coach and you recognizing, okay, this isn't work. That was you advocating for yourself, saying that I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm in a place and it just does not work. I'm not gonna reap the benefits of this because it's not fitting in my life and it's not working. So in being intentional and being an advocate, those are things that you have to do as people.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, and you did both of those things. So
that means I'm ready, y'all.
Ready. Y'all, she ready now.
That means I'm ready. Well, you guys, we're gonna wrap up things here with Zay. We want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. And Madison.
Yes, Madison, thank you. I have locked Pixie out. I looked back at the door a couple times because I heard the scratching, so I was like, but one more question for you, so we can wrap it up. If you had any one piece of advice that you would give another female, what would it be? It could be anything. It could be on the entrepreneurial side, it could be the personal side. What information would you give that person?
Okay, so listen, I'm gonna try to tell this story in 2 minutes.
Okay. This is my show now. You can go on if you want.
Girl, I'm gonna So I heard this the other day. I was watching this thing. And so this lady was like, you know what? I wanted this beautiful, I'm gonna tweak it to fit my life, okay? So this is gonna be my story-ish. So this woman wanted this beautiful decor for her bedroom, and specifically she wanted this duvet cover. She wanted like all of these, the pretty bells and whistles that we want in our bedroom when we see it on Pinterest. Like she wanted that feel. And so however, her grandmother gave her a quilt that she made. Like the quilt was, one of those older patchwork quilts where they took pieces of material and they just sewed them together or whatever. And she absolutely hated the quilt. Hated it. And so she was just hard on the quilt. Like she didn't take care of it. She would just like throw it on the ground and sit on it, let it get dirty. She would, take it outside, and like if she wanted to lay down and change something or paint something or whatever, she used the quilt for it. And she just beat the quilt up. It was just, very, very she didn't take care of it. She didn't cherish the quilt. And so many, many years, maybe 10, 15, 20 years later, she was walking down a sidewalk in like a little shop area, a little Soho area, and she saw this boutique. And so when she passed by the boutique, she saw a display of a quilt that put her in the mind of the one that her grandmother made for her. And so she was like, look, this quilt looks like the one that my grandmama made for me. Listen, she's Southern. Like I'd have made her real Southern. This is like the quilt that my grandmama made for me. I'm just going to go in here and see how much this quilt is, right? So she went into the boutique, and the lady was just so helpful. She was like, thank you for coming to the boutique. How are you? And she was like, I'm doing well. What's going on with this quilt right here? She was like, oh my goodness, this quilt was made by a slave. She said pieces of this quilt, like this piece right here was from her wedding dress. This piece right here was from the sack that she held the cotton in. This piece right here was from some scraps that she had when she was, doing her owner's tailoring, and from some dresses that she had, and she was, doing some alterations and stuff. And she was like, all of these pieces have a story. And so she was like, oh, okay. And she said, well, how much is this quilt? She said, oh, this quilt is $100,000. And she was like, oh, thank you so much. So she walked out, and she was like, I need to go home and see if I can find that quilt. Right? So I said all of that to say, you never want to be the person that has to go to the outside to tell you how valuable what you have at your own house, right? So you have value in your house. Everything that you want in this life, everything that you crave for, everything that you need, you have access to it. It's right in your home. You don't need somebody else to tell you that that idea is valuable. You don't need somebody else to give you a high five. You don't need somebody else to display it. Everything that you need and you want in this life, you have access to because it is yours. It's time for you to display it, to walk in it, and to operate. Never let somebody else tell you what your value and your worth is. So that would be what I would tell people.
Y'all, you know, that's some true tea, y'all. I'm gonna clip that and put it on Instagram, you guys. Y'all know how I do my little clips. So I really appreciate it. This was good, a good interview, some helpful information, you guys. We did have some technical difficulties, but we worked through that. This
Like
is
eagles, like eagles,
like an eagle, yeah. And she's been here with me through the start. When my first interview got canceled because, well, the interview didn't get canceled. The studio was closed, you guys. And of course, it's for safety reasons. It's a quarantine, so I, had to do what I had to do, and Xavier was there to help me test out the software to make sure things work. And so I really appreciate that, you guys. And this is pretty much was destiny. It wasn't even intentional. I've been knowing her since I was a little girl.
Yes.
So, but yes. I was like, when I asked her could she help, she was like, sure. Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. and I brought out my light. And my
she did. She has the light, the equipment, everything. So,
because listen, when your friends ask you to show up, you don't show up with them raggedy. You show up like you would show up with anybody else, and that's what you have to do when people come to you and they ask you to do something. Bring your best to the table. Period. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. And I appreciate it so much. And I know this interview is going to get some good feedback. And I hope to any female entrepreneur that this finds you very well and you listen to it, you get fed some information emotionally, spiritually, and just whatever it is that you may be in doubt. I hope you get to watch it, and I hope you get to hear Zay talk about what are the tools you need and things that you can have access to yourself. I'm going to share my screen real quick and go to her website. Let me know if you
are my website
are off.
Let's see. I still see me, Erin. So
okay. So here we go. All right, so you can find her online. That's her right there at iamzaybell.com. She's here. Here's her website, you guys, and she has books as well. The StartHer Kit right here. So these are ebooks you can download, correct, you guys?
No, those are physical copies. You know what? I have some ebooks. I don't like ebooks because I like turning pages. Mm-hmm. But a lot of my clients do like ebooks. 2 or 3 of those are workbooks, so they're not downloadable.
Okay.
Because you really need to write in those. The StartHer Kit, and Don't Cry, Conquer. Those are physical books, and then the Higher Mastermind notebook is just kind of like a goal setting book for entrepreneurs.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And she also has a podcast, you guys, called The Queen's Move. You guys make sure you follow that on Facebook. Is it The Queen's Move on Facebook or Queen's Move podcast?
So listen, okay. Let me tell you what the quarantine did for me. The quarantine for me, it made me rebrand my life. So Queen's Move, that podcast was specifically about strategy.
Okay.
And so now we're transitioning over to making more scared moves. So Queen's Move podcast has been renamed. So I'm going to update that. So Queen's Move now is on pause, but in the next week or 2, we're transitioning over to Move Scared podcast.
Okay. All right. You guys
go in line with the book.
Y'all watch out for that Move Scared podcast. Here her services right here as well. Let her coach you. Girl, let me coach you. She has the charging station, the chopping block.
Mhm.
So you guys make sure y'all go check out her website. It's really well, and here's more information about her as well. She does coaching, goal setting. She's an author. And here is her Move Scare and the StartHer Academy, you guys. Oh, and here's a new brand she's already started, you guys. So,
and if you actually click on those links, they should take you somewhere. I'm not one of those people that have those little links at the bottom that doesn't take you places. So if you actually click on them, you'll be able to find me.
How did I do that?
I don't know.
Here? Maybe because I got the PDF, and maybe I'm doing the shared screen. That maybe that's why.
I don't know. It's froze on the screen.
Oh, okay. I'll move back to StreamYard. I said StreamYard and stop sharing.
Okay, here we go.
All right, and you guys, also, Xavier is on in LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can follow her at I am Zay Bell. I have it right there scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
That's a very nice touch, Erin.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You did a great job on that.
Yes. But one good thing. Once we get this audio, y'all, and this lighting is going to be on. Okay?
Yes, it is.
Okay?
Yes, it is.
So I look gray now, honestly, but it's okay.
It's perfect.
Perfect. It's okay. And guys, of course, if you want to follow me as well, I am at HeyDFW on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So follow me. I'm going to have more shows coming up for the QT with Erin Jai, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much again, Xavier, for joining
You're welcome.
And we're going to watch this and upload it soon and go from there. All right, you guys. Now have a good day.
Have a good day, guys.